The year is 690 CE, and I am somewhere in what will eventually become modern-day Scotland, but not for at least 1,000 years. Right now, this is the land of the Picts, a powerful and intricate medieval Scottish kingdom, and we are at the behest of King Brythei III. This is carved in stone. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I know I've been away for a while, I haven't uploaded anything in a really long time. I have been ill and busy. The illness hasn't been fun at all. Chronic illness, usual stuff, don't worry, it's all fine. It's just usual ArchaeoPlays chronic illness stuff. But the busyness has been because I have been putting together a book. I've been putting this book together with Stoutstoat Press and the Society of Antiquaries of Scotland for several years now, and it is finally done. So I'm turning it into a Minecraft series. Welcome to Carved in Stone. We're gonna turn this entire world into Pictland, into late 7th century Scotland. It's gonna be great as soon as I get down off of this. What's this book, I hear you asking? It's called Carved in Stone, a storyteller's guide to the Picts, hence the name for this Minecraft series. This book is basically an illustrated encyclopedia full of everything you need to know to tell stories as Picts yourselves, whether that's in a tabletop role-playing game like Dungeons & Dragons or in a game like Minecraft. Also, all of the art in this video also appears in the book. And pre-orders for the book are now open. The link is down in the description below, so check it out if you're interested. This is a modded series. There are lots and lots of mods, some of which are just here and working as they usually do, and some of them I have altered to work for the late 7th century Pictland. But all of the mods are listed down in the description below. The mod pack itself isn't currently available. There is also stuff that I've added to this mod pack personally. It's not available yet, not because I don't want you all to be able to play with this mod pack, but because I don't trust that it isn't gonna break on you all yet. So it's coming. You'll get it soon, but I want to make sure that that you all have a happy experience playing in this mod pack, and we're not there yet. I don't think. I don't trust it enough. I don't trust my own modding skills because it's a lot of Cube.js and everything. So we've started in a village. There are some things here. We've got, say, like a barley crop that is native to Scotland, or is at least available in Scotland, in Pictland in this period, so we can harvest barley, which is great. We've also got this cucumber crop, which is mature, and it's not going to give us anything, because cucumbers are not native to Scotland, they're not a food that the Picts had access to. So even though it's here in the world gen, I couldn't figure out a way to get it to not generate in the world without creating an actual mod pack myself, and I am not skilled enough for that. So they're here, they exist, they just don't give you anything. You can't do anything with them. Same with the pepper crop, can't do anything with it. But lettuce the Picts had, so we can have a salad, which is, you know, sort of fun. Green beans, no, absolutely not. Broccoli, no, absolutely not. There's a lot. The kale, however, we've got a lot of leafy greens. We can do leafy greens, we can do barley, we can also do like onions and garlic and such. But like this corn here won't give us anything. In fact, I'm just going to destroy it because it's on a path. I've also tweaked the trades a bit in this mod pack. So instead of being able to look at our farmer Talargan here and be able to trade emeralds for crops, no, you have to trade stuff for what the traders have. Now he's got two trades. There's 3 beetroot for 6 carrots and 3 beetroot for 4 beetroot seeds, but the other ones will have more varied trades. It's not just food, it's not just crops. It's things like some of them will ask for raw beef, some of them will ask for certain things that are part of their profession. So like an armourer might ask for iron, for example, or bronze. There's a whole lot of possibility here. Right, so first order of business, I'm gonna say, is to get a house. Well, even before that, we need to get some tools, because I can't just mine stone and get a stone pickaxe. I can't even make a wooden pickaxe, really. Here, let me show you. I'll chop down a tree that's not in the middle of the village. Let's be kind. Okay, let's punch this one. Ready? And the tree is gonna fall. Ugh. We're going to collect a whole bunch of stuff, and then we're going to keep punching it because I don't want to just leave a fallen tree here. This is a mod as well that lets the tree fall. You can configure it in a number of different ways. This was the best way I could figure out to configure it for what I want it to do. It does mean that you end up with a whole bunch of leaves, but of course you would end up with a bunch of leaves when you chop a tree down. It makes sense. So we've got wood, right? We have oak wood. Wonderful. And I make a crafting table. Fantastic. We put the crafting table down. And wooden pickaxe doesn't work. Wooden axe also doesn't work. A wooden hoe works because you can actually make a wooden hoe that's going to do something useful. And a wooden shovel also works because you can make wooden shovels and have them actually be useful. But wooden pickaxes and wooden axes really don't do anything in real... Like, have you ever tried to chop down a tree with wood? It doesn't really work. So what we have to do instead is we need to find some gravel. Now, this village is in actually quite a decent spot. I'm quite liking this spawn. I'm gonna steal this. I'll terraform it later. It'll look better later, but let me get like 6 of these. Okay, let me just get enough so that I can have a pickaxe and an axe. Okay, we're gonna start there. Here we go. Let's see how long it takes me to get 6 flint. It is getting dark, but that's okay. Hostile mobs do not spawn in the overworld naturally. They don't naturally spawn in the overworld, so it doesn't necessarily matter if it's dark. I'm not gonna film most of this while it's dark because I would like you all to still see what I'm doing, but it means that if I'm trying to get flint... Okay, one more flint. Will I get the flint first or will my shovel break first? Hey, okay, right. It means that if I'm doing something like that, I don't have to run for cover quickly just because hostile mobs are gonna, you know, come after me and such. Let's get the tools. Yeah. And then we'll do a pickaxe and we'll do an axe. Okay, let's see. Is there a free bed? Can I borrow? There's no bed in there. Wonderful. Gotta love the beds. Okay. Sweet potato. That's not going to give us anything because those are not native to Scotland in the slightest. That doesn't have a bed. A lot of the modded... There are a few modded professions in here. And apparently there are lots of them in this particular village. And their houses don't spawn with a bed. Which is a shame because I need a bed. That's also not a bed. How many houses don't have beds? That one's got a bed. Somebody's in it. I can oust them though. Is that the only house that has a bed? Right. Well, sir, apologies. Who are you? Kenneth. Sorry. I'm gonna borrow your bed. I'm gonna... I feel like that's not necessarily... Look, I don't think that was a common practice in Pickland, but I needed to sleep. I needed you to be able to see things. Hello, Gwen. All of the villagers, the other thing, I've been calling villagers different names. Mongfind here. And then, good lord. What's going on in here? There's like 8 villagers in here. Anyway, our farmer Talarkin and the other one Fergus. These are Pictish names. They're actual Pictish names that we have from various stone carvings that the Picts made, or sometimes records that other people wrote about the Picts. There are also a few Welsh names thrown in there, modern Welsh names and modern Gaelic names, Scottish Gaelic names, and there may be some modern Irish names in there as well. like Irish language names, mostly because there are only so many Pictish names that we have. So I've worked a bunch of others in. This is another mod that lets the villagers actually have names. So Ilay is actually a Pictish name, for example. Okay, I need to convert one of these houses into a Pictish house. I feel like that's order of business number 1 for today. I need a house. And that house, as you may have guessed, given my love of them, is gonna be a dirt hut. It's gonna be a fancy dirt hut. It's gonna be a nice dirt hut. So let's get up to the top of this hill and see if there is a spot where we can harvest some dirt from. There's also this, okay, there's this lovely hill. And the Picts, not just the Picts, but pretty much every Scottish culture that has ever existed in Scotland likes hills. We like building on hills. We like having fortresses up on hills. You know, they're a useful vantage point for looking down at the land around you, for seeing what's what and what's where. It's just a nice, hills are nice places to be, and they command a landscape. Look at how much you can see from up here. So maybe at some point we'll turn this into like a super swanky house for like King Brede himself, maybe. Whether he'll ever deign to visit us, who knows? We'll figure it out. But you know, we could turn, there could be a house here for him, probably. For now, however, I'm gonna actually take most of this dirt. I'm actually gonna, I know I just said I would give this to Brede, and oh gosh, chopping that tree there wasn't necessarily the best of ideas, but here we are. Let's see what we can salvage of all of the drops. Hold on. This is where my inability to leave things on the ground is gonna become a problem, because I can't not. I have to pick it up. I can't leave it to despawn. Okay, right. We're gonna do this. We're gonna take this, take these, and then we're gonna harvest a bunch of this dirt. And while I gather a bunch of dirt, let me tell you a bit more about who the Picts were. The Picts were a culture, a group of people, a kingdom that lived in Scotland from the 3rd or 4th century CE until, well, I mean, really, you could argue that us Scots are still Pictish. The Picts never really left Scotland. They merged with other groups to become who we are today. Historically, the word Picti was originally a Latin word that meant painted, and it was used by the Romans for pretty much anyone north of Roman territory in Britain. And it wasn't a nice term either. The Romans really didn't like the Picts, partly because they kept fighting us and we kept winning. But the Picts seem to have reclaimed the insult for themselves and used it as their own name for their own people. In this series, in Carved in Stone, I'm going to show you who the Picts really were. I'll show you what we know from archaeology and history, and I'm going to be building Pictland in Minecraft as I go, using Pictish materials and technologies as much as I can. Okay, we're gonna convert a house because I can't get wool off the sheep yet. I don't have shears, and while I could unalive them, I don't have any way of washing the wool and then carding the wool and then spinning the wool to create a bit. This is nice. Is this like an inn? Maybe I'll just stay here. Maybe we'll turn this into a Pictish building and I'll just stay here on the top of the hill, commanding the landscape. Yeah, okay, all right. Look, delusions of grandeur aside, let's see about converting this to a Pictish house. This can stay, but I'm going to take the wood that's on the inside. We're also going to take out the glass, because glass window is not really a thing that was used in Pictland so much. So we're going to take this out. We'll talk about glass more as we progress through, but for now, for a farming village, farming and hunting and probably fishing village, this is not, glass windows are not something that we would have. We're going to take out the cobblestone as well. In Pictland, so in sort of mainland Scotland, in the main part of Pictland, they didn't generally build their houses entirely out of stone. That happened a little bit further out in parts of Orkney and Caithness and Shetland, but it didn't really happen in the main Pictish territories. So we're going to take all of this cobblestone and we're going to convert it to turf, which is what the Picts built out of. I've got dirt because it's going to convert to dirt regardless, and I don't have silk touch to dig up grass. But generally speaking, the Picts would have built their houses out of turf. And the reason they chose turf is, well, there are a few reasons they chose turf. One is that it's incredibly well insulated. It's very warm to have a house out of turf. I don't know if you've ever been in a turf house before, but they are very, very warm, very cozy. They hold heat very well. They're also cool in the summertime. So you can have a very cool space and a very warm space in the various seasons that you need it in. The other reason is that it's a cheap material and it's available. It's there. It's not terribly difficult to harvest turf to put it into a house. You do need it to be turf instead of just dirt, as I sort of mentioned before, which basically means that you need it to be the top layer of dirt here, so that it's still got grass, it's got plant matter in it, and those root systems that goes through the dirt. So really, if technically in Minecraft you want rooted dirt for your dirt huts, but the chances of us being able to find rooted dirt quickly are rather slim, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. We're just gonna make a dirt hut instead. There are Pictish houses where the bottom layer of the house is cobblestone, or it's like stone-lined turf. So that's why I'm leaving that bottom layer of cobblestone. Well, it's technically bottom 2 layers. I'm debating taking it out, but I like being able to see it on the inside of the build as well as the outside. It's just that there's a step up into the build. So this is part of the issue of converting a build rather than building one ourselves. Right, so we've converted the walls, more or less, but those aren't the most important part of a Pictish house. I mean, obviously walls are important, but those aren't the most important part of a Pictish house, and they certainly aren't the most important thing to do when Pictish folk move into a new home. The most important part of any Pictish home is the hearth. Hearths are where we cook our meals, where we eat with our families, where we spend our evenings. They keep us warm, they keep us fed, and we bring pieces of them with us from home to home, no matter where we go. Hearths are incredibly personal, and we never move into a new house without taking out the old hearth and building a new one. It's how we say hello to the new building. We build a hearth and we cook a meal. But to do that, we need to build the hearth in the first place, and to build a hearth in Minecraft, we need charcoal. I did an episode on this in my Archaeologist Guide series. So to make charcoal, you can just, burn wood or like organic material in a fire. It doesn't have to be a whole production. But if you want more than a small amount of charcoal, you're going to need to build either what's called a charcoal kiln or a charcoal clamp, or just a charcoal pile. And that's what we're gonna do. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna make a log pile, which is this formation of any kind of planks. This is from the mod Charcoal Pit. It's actually Charcoal Pit 4. It's linked down in the description below. It's a wonderful mod that makes a lot of these processes a lot more accurate to what they would be in reality, basically. So we've got our log planks. Now we could dig a hole like this one here, and then we can put our log pile there, and then we're gonna dig another hole. And our dirt, here, I'm gonna actually do this so that we don't get it confused. Oh, but I need a flint and steel to do this, and I don't have a flint and steel. That's a problem. We need some charcoal. I don't know that we're gonna get charcoal. I don't know that anybody has charcoal. What do I do? So I don't have any charcoal, and I don't have any way to light a charcoal clamp because I don't have a way to get a flint and steel because I don't have any way of getting iron at the moment. You can't just mine iron with your stone pick and then put it in a furnace. It's a lot more complicated than that. I'm going to ponder the charcoal question a bit more, but in the meantime, I've fired some stone and turned them into stone brick stairs so that I can turn those into a sort of hearth. I've also rearranged some of the inside of this building, so I've moved some of the tables and chairs and rearranged the bed, that kind of thing. It's not a fully Pictish building yet, and it probably won't be during this episode, but remember, the important thing is the hearth. Right, at the very least, we need wood for charcoal. That's kind of where charcoal comes from. So let's go into the swamp. Frog! There's a frog! Hello, frog! There's another frog! And cows. Cows are great. Cows are a good omen. The Picts, we Picts love cows. Cows are one of the most valuable things in Pictland. Cattle and silver. Oh gosh, I am not ready for a witch. I am not remotely ready for a witch. Can you here? I'm gonna lead you to the guards. Well, I'm glad that went as well as it did. So we took on the witch, though. Had she just spawned, or is her house in here? I genuinely didn't actually look at all in this swamp. I heard her cackling and I ran. Oh yeah, no, there's her house. Okay, well, what's in her house? Right, this is not terribly ethical of me. But given that she came after me, I feel like exploring her house for useful things is... look, it's a shame, but here we are. Okay. What? There's a cauldron! I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this, because then we can do stuff with wool. Or at least we're a lot closer to doing things with wool. Okay, so I'm gonna take that, and then where is my house? Which way is the exit? I think it's this way. This is also gonna test my ability to know where I am in a Minecraft world, and those of you who have been watching for a while are well aware that I am not the best. I am directionally challenged in Minecraft. And also in real life, which you may not know, but I am. Look, dyslexia happens, so we're gonna deal with it. It's gonna be fine. We'll remember where things are, probably. Okay, we need to figure out how to get charcoal, because that's the main way that we're gonna light this hearth. I wonder if we can use the lava to catch our charcoal on fire. Okay, right, hear me out. We're gonna see if we can still make charcoal using the lava, because we don't have anywhere in the village that could give us charcoal, unless we were to take it, like maybe some of the chests do, but I don't want to use the stuff in the chests. I like having that self-imposed rule. Yes, there's coal ore a lot of places, but that's not really going to work too well for a fireplace, and especially not in the Pictish period. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mine this stone. We're probably going to put it here. Okay. We're going to do this. And then we're going to cover it. And then we take away this block and we wait for the lava to light the logs on fire. This is probably going to take a while. Oh, it did. It did. Okay, excellent. We do this. And now, it works. Okay. And now that's our charcoal pit. And we're gonna put this out. We're gonna do that immediately. Here, let's do this so that it doesn't... These, we really ought to... Actually, now that I'm here and remembering that fire tick is on, let's move these before our entire food supply just goes up in flames. But we now have a charcoal pit. That's great. I'm so glad that worked. I didn't think it was gonna by the time it happened. Okay, so basically you cover it in dirt or basically blocks that aren't gonna burn, more or less. And while it's smoking, it's working. So we don't do anything to it until it stops smoking, and then we'll have charcoal. Terraforming while we wait for charcoal to burn. We'll also change out the paths as we go. I'm just getting something basic here so that there is a clear path up the hill in various directions. Okay, it's still smoking, so we're not gonna dig it out. Don't uncover your charcoal until it's done smoking, all right? Otherwise, you're gonna stop the whole process. You're gonna wait until this is ready, until it's not smoking anymore. Okay, let's go sleep. Oh, look, I'm glad that one of our farmers has found a bed up here. That's good. Hello, Talergan. Wonderful. I don't have anything to trade, Talergan, which is actually, I probably actually do now that I've taken 11 hay bales. Look, I'm becoming the head person of this village, okay? So I'm taking control of the food supply. Sort of. It wasn't my original plan, but here we are. Where are the rest of yous? Why are you all in this? Are you all in this building again? What is the... Why? Why? Charcoal is done. Okay, so now that our charcoal's done, we're gonna uncover it. And when you uncover it, you end up with piles of charcoal. And so then you just harvest that with a shovel and you get a potash and 3 pieces of charcoal. Which is pretty great. Now that I've got the stone and the charcoal, I'm gonna make some stone bricks and then combine 2 stone bricks with 2 charcoal to get a stone bricks fire pit from the additional lighting mod. I'm actually gonna make 2 of them for our hearth because Pictish hearths are usually rectangular. And then I'm gonna take these out. And instead, we're gonna put these in the middle. And then we're gonna just close it up. See, there you go. And I can walk on this and it doesn't hurt. Isn't that cool? Okay, so we have a hearth, but nobody else does. So before we leave this episode, we're gonna make sure that everybody's got a hearth. And in order to do that, we need charcoal. So we're gonna get a whole lot of charcoal. Are you ready? Let's, you've heard of lava chicken. Have you heard of lava charcoal? I have sat waiting for this to catch fire all night. I knew as soon as I said something it would... I knew literally as soon as I said something it would do it. But I hadn't realized well enough to prepare for the jump scare. Okay, all right. This is a rather lengthy process, not gonna lie. It's gonna take a while. So I'm gonna keep making charcoal, and I'll check back in with you once we actually have some. All right, we have 14 other buildings in this village. Now, a lot of the time, Pictish hearths. Here, let me come back inside. A lot of the time, Pictish hearths are rectangular. They're stone-lined and rectangular. And there are other ways that we can do this in this mod pack, but this is the easiest way to do it right out the gate. But as we kind of remodel a lot of these houses, especially as I keep remodeling this one's not done, by the way. We're going to keep changing it. As we go through, we're going to use those different methods for making hearths. But for right now, because it's still rather expensive and waiting for charcoal to catch fire from lava takes a while, and it's currently raining, we're gonna do just one of these blocks, one of these, what are they? Stone bricks fire pit. We're gonna use one of them in each building rather than putting two of them like I've got in the sort of inn-esque place up on the hill. So let's install some hearths. Okay, and I do have an extra one. So I think I put 2 in that one. I'm gonna, I'll just put 2 in this one here. And eventually we'll get all these buildings with double hearths or rectangular hearths. We just don't have, I don't have too many resources to be able to do that just now. And it's raining in true Scottish fashion in the middle of the night while it's raining with fog on the ground. I think this has been a resounding success. I'm quite pleased with my charcoal pits. I should make sure that the villagers won't fall into them. I also need to make sure that the villagers... Oh. Don't... Shh. It's fine. Shh. Don't tell anyone, right? This is our secret. It's our secret. Don't tell the villagers. But I think on this very rainy, very foggy night, I think that's where we're going to end episode 1, everybody. We've given everyone a hearth, which is the most important thing when coming to a new place for the first time in Pickland. That's all from me for today, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.